Angela Yee attempted to throw DJ Envy and Charlamagne under the bus. But boy, she got a rude awakening. Let's take a look.
The lone woman on this show with a lot of bravado, with a lot of edge, disruptive, and that's why millions of people love the show. It seemed to me that people were always riding you.
Yeah, and, you know, I was the only woman who worked there, too. I mean, when it came to producers, camera people, and it wasn't an easy room for me to be in.
I didn't know that.
So I feel like I did need more, like, backup, you know, because even things that I felt as a woman, it is, you know, if somebody can't understand your point of view because they're not coming from where you come from. And so that was hard for me, too, to be the only woman there with nobody to be like, check somebody, you know, you shouldn't have said that like that. It's just me. And there were times I did do that behind the scenes because, you know, we should be able to do that. That's part of what it is. I'm not always going to agree. But it's hard when nobody's like, you know what, she's right. Or let's all have a conversation about this. It's just kind of like you say what you say and then...
Well, you heard what she said. The good thing is DJ Envy, at least, has been on a full-throated defense strategy, PR strategy to get the truth out into the open. Because if you listen to that clip, you would think Angela Yee was a lone woman on an island of misogynistic men who were just hoping to tear and destroy, and she was the poor damsel in distress that was getting all the flack for everything they did. That just wasn't the case. And this is dangerous because not only did she throw them under the bus, but she attempted to do harm to them. She attempted to do harm to them because it's damage to their reputation. And honestly, if she's not careful, you know, there could be legal implications on how they would respond. It gives me every indication that the exit and just her getting promoted to her own show and, you know, there being a brotherhood and love between them for having all these years of success, it doesn't exist. That was a shot that was too far. DJ Envy got way out in front of this. He's been the most. Charlamagne's been pretty quiet on it for some reason because I know she was definitely mad at Charlamagne, so I guess Charlamagne doesn't want to make it any worse. But yeah, you got to be careful with who you have around you, guys, especially in a work environment. You thinking it's one way, you thinking we all good, and when they get out of there, they're kicking dirt on your name.
He reflected on her time at the show and talked about being the only woman working on the Bradford Club show. What's your reaction?
I mean, she was. I mean, it was her, Charlamagne, and myself, so she was the only woman on air. But behind the scenes, there was so many different. I mean, our boss, the actual person that pays our bills and pays our checks and hires us, is Thea Mitchum, a Hampton University graduate, by the way, who's a woman. There's a bunch of women there. I think she misspoke. I think her words were taken out of I guess, technicality. I'm sure she'll clean it up. But there's a lot of women that work on that show. I mean, we can go.
He's even making excuses for her in the explanation.
Taylor, who's a producer now, to Sydney, to Samantha, to Claudia was a producer, Sasha was a producer. There was a lot of women on there. There was a lot of diverse people on there. But, you know, I'm glad that she has her own show. She's doing well. I'm excited for her. We come on early. She comes on right after us. So, I mean, it's like anything else. Sometimes, you know, I mean, it's no problems, no beef, nothing like that. But I just felt like, you know, she didn't, I guess her comments and the things that she said were taken out of character and taken out of what they really meant.
Yeah. I know that you made some online comments that, you know, really rebuff, like, oh, no, that's not true. Mm-hmm. And now people are taking that and running with it on social media. So you want to clear up on your relationship or anything? Where does that stand? Or have y'all talked about it?
No, I ain't going to clear up. I mean, you know, it's what it is. It's the truth. It's honesty, you know what I mean? Yeah. You can be honest with all your friends, you know what I mean? Doesn't mean I don't like somebody or they don't like me. It's like, you know, you say something foul of me, I can say something foul of you back.
That last part is particularly telling. As he said, if you do some foul stuff, if you say some foul stuff about me, I can say some foul stuff back. So he at least receives the fact that it was some foul stuff that was said on Tamron Hall, of all places, you know. So yeah, listen, as much pandering as Charlamagne does to women, there is no defense, guys. There is no defense to this. One allegation, this isn't even on the level of a Bill Cosby allegation, and it can damage your bag It can damage your career. You hear me? It's like she walked out the door and threw a match behind her. Yeah. So, but you know what? What was good is that everybody started kind of chiming in on their experiences with Angela Yee, their history with Angela Yee, the history with the Breakfast Club, and like tried to figure it out because, you know, it doesn't make any sense to a lot of people. And so she got a lot of flack in the comments. She had to turn off her mentions last weekend and hide. Even in the comment of this video, it says, I hate when women do stuff like this. DJ Envy was trying to make excuses for her, but no. You've been on that show for over a decade, and now you want to act like you didn't have a voice? Now you want to act like you was the only woman and had no backup. People were letting her have it. And even some celebrities that had been on the show were letting her know that she was wrong for doing that. So she had to do a little bit of explaining. This was her response on her show, Way Up.
It never blew up like this before, I guess, but maybe it was the way that I said it. I'm not sure, you know, but I guess people were interpreting it to mean that I meant that there were no women working on the show, and that was not my intention.
Right,
so
right.
not to make anybody feel like, you know, because that's simply not true. I was talking about in that studio, in that room, and even Sydney would tell you, I would walk out that room and be like, I can't be in here for now. And I would even say,
But isn't that anybody with a job? When you're done doing your job, there is some relief, right? But somehow that's just because there was men in the room. Just because she was the only woman in the room, according to her, even though there's plenty of women around. And she literally said there wasn't any women producers. And Charlamagne proved her wrong on that. He's like Taylor, who we know, she's a personality on all of Charlamagne's podcasts. He's like, Taylor's been here like 7 years. Like, what are you talking about? There's not any women in the room? She's like, oh, Angela says Taylor was in another room.
leave the show, I don't even want to talk to any guys. That's why I had lip service with all women, because I was like, oh, I can't talk to any guys for like 2 hours. And I feel like I've said that on many interviews, but somehow.
But wait a minute. She goes on lip service and interviews rappers. So you're talking to guys. I don't know.
This
wasn't
turned into a lot more.
This wasn't the first time I've heard you say it. Were you surprised that it became a
yes.
thing?
I was definitely surprised, but you know,
it went viral.
One thing I did do, and I advise this to anybody when something happens, because this has happened to me countless times. You know, just don't stay on social media because you don't want to be. It never blew up like this before, I guess, but maybe it was.
So though she couches it as a slip of the tongue, an error, the damage could have been really bad for Charlamagne and DJ Envy. But what isn't lost on me is the fact that what the Breakfast Club is and how it became popular and how you get to the position that you're in to have your own program, to have your own show on iHeartMedia is because of the controversy. So you're happy to take the benefits of said controversy. You're happy to have Charlamagne sniffing women's seats when, no. You're happy to have Charlamagne making those memorable moments. You're happy to have DJ Envy pretty much push you along all throughout the process. And you're happy to sit along and take the benefit of being in a room full of men. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable because there should be a bit of grace that's taken because they were the #1 radio show for a long time. I don't know where they stand right now, but you don't get there by accident. And you don't get there without hard work and sacrifice. You're thinking you're taking all the brunt of all the things. Charlamagne literally almost got his head knocked off in front of the radio station. But you understand what I'm saying? Like, it seems like she wants all the reward and none of the risk. She should be able to look back on the Breakfast Club for the great thing that it was for her and for her career and leave it at that. She hasn't been out a month And she's already talking about how she was a victim. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification for all uploads. This is Faucette Media.